Hey everybody, welcome again to the group. I'm going to fulfill my promise, which is to, in 7 days, give you something that you can walk away from this group and go, wow, I just saved at least 2 hours a week. And so what I want to do is walk through a 7-day challenge. Now, some of you are going to be very aggressive with this and you're going to be like, hey, I can do this all in one day. Great, do that. Some of you are very strapped for time. And so each one of these I've broken down into things that are, 15 to 30 minutes a piece. And so it doesn't take forever to do, but it just kind of gradually walks you through things. One of the things that I learned in life that I'm still learning because I'm a little ADD is that consistency is key. And so what I want to do is get you in the habit of coming in here every single day, doing another challenge, and just really moving forward down the road. What I don't want you to do is jump in and get overwhelmed and then quit. And so what I really want you to do is come in here, do a few things, move forward, do a few things, move forward, do a few things, move forward. And then over 7 days, in 7 days from right now, you are going to have a built-out system that'll take some messages from Slack, for instance. It'll push it all the way through AI, and it'll publish on your social channels in a really powerful and automated way. And I'm going to show you how to do it right now. So let's start with first things first. You are in the day one challenge. And so the very first thing that we're going to do is get organized. Now that may seem very elementary, but remember, I am your mentor. I'm here to mentor you. I'm here to share with you what I know and what I do and how I function. And some of you, this is going to come very easy for. Others, organization is your Achilles heel. But no matter if you're good at it or bad at it, for this particular group, I would like to encourage you to get some organizational structure set up at the very beginning. And I promise you it will help you and accelerate your learning curve on this. And so if you come through here and you're like, I already do this, great, no problem. I realize that there's a lot of people in the group that are just starting out on their journey. Others have been doing this for 30 years and the people in the middle. And so if you find something in these challenges that you're like, I already know how to do that, great, move on. But just do me a favor, on each one of these challenges, just put done down at the bottom and be active and just let us know, hey, I did it, great. And move on to the next one. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing I want to do is get us to organize. All right, so what I have below here is I've got a couple of files. If you'll take this file and the resources I give you, you will be able to accelerate and do this even faster. All right, but I want to share 5 things with you that I think are very critical to your success, not just here in this group, but in life in general. And that is that there are 5 systems that you need to excel. Every single day we are getting new tools on the market and it's a little overwhelming. And at this point, if you don't have a good system for these in place, you need to start today. Do this. Do not move forward until you do this. I promise you, you will thank your future self. Your future self will thank you. So number one, you have to have a storage system. What I mean by that is you have to have some place that you can hold all of the things that I'm going to give you here in the Martech Mentor. Where are you going to store all the files I give you? And you need to be able to find them fast. Years ago, I had a mentor. His name was Howard Hendricks, an incredible, brilliant man. And I learned so much from him, but he had this amazing filing system where any topic he could go file and find. And but back in those days, in the 90s, it was, or the early 2000s, I should say, it was all paper, right? So, but I learned a lot of things. Let's transfer this to the digital age. I remember him saying, Paul, he gathered a bunch of guys around and ladies, and he was mentoring us. And he goes, let me show you my my filing system. And so it was amazing. He showed us all the ways he filed things. It was very unique. And he said something that I've never forgotten. And what he said is, Paul, if I file something and later I can't find it within 5 minutes, it's forever lost to me and I just consider it gone. And I thought that was brilliant. And his point was that he didn't want to waste any creative energy looking for things. So he had to do it on the front end. And so we're going to do that now, except for I'm going to move that 5 minutes down to 90 seconds, meaning that if you can't find something in 90 seconds, you've wasted creative energy. And so this is critical to your success as a creative leader. So the first thing we're going to do is set up a storage system. The second thing we're going to do is I'm going to teach you a naming system, and you can use it or not, but I found it very helpful. The third thing is I want to make sure you have a password system set up. The fourth thing, I want to make sure you have a bookmarking system set up. And the fifth thing is a notation system. All 5 of these are going to work well for you. They're going to serve you well in this group and in other parts of your business. So let's get to it. Number one, let's go to a storage system. What I would encourage you to do right now is go to Google Drive or Dropbox. I prefer Google Drive, even though I use both very extensively for this project, I like Google Drive, and the reason is it's easier to connect to some things, and I just like using it. So I would encourage you to go do it in Google Drive. You probably already have one. And what I want you to do is I want you to go set up a brand new folder, and I want you to call it whatever you want to call it, but something along the lines of, let's just rename this. You might call it something like Martech Mentor Gems. All right, so let's just call it whatever you want to call it, and you've got that. Now it obviously moved because it's sorted. There are a bunch of folders in here and some files. Now don't worry, you don't have to set all this up right now, because down below here is a zip file. Just download that zip file and then come over here to Drive and say new file upload, not the folder upload, new file upload. What you're going to do is going to go to your desktop where you downloaded that zip file that I just gave you down below, and you're going to upload it to your Drive, and then you're going to unpack it. Now, if you don't have a little, there's a little utility in Drive that if you've never used before, which you can right click and you can say open with zip extractor. And what it will do is it'll actually extract all of these folders and all of these files. It'll put right here, and they'll be yours, and you will be the owner instead of me being the owner and having to share with you. So make sure you do that if you haven't done that already. And let's see, let me get back to this. Now, if you don't have that little plugin, no worries, just go to open with and say connect more apps. And down here you will see, let's just call it zip extractor, you know, whatever, and just find that and install it. Okay, so once you have that, what it's going to do is it's going to give you the entire folder structure that I'm telling you about. And so what I want to encourage you to do is have a folder for code snippets. Every once in a while, even if you don't know any code and you don't need to be a nerd, I'm going to give you some codes that you can literally cut and paste into other parts of the process. And this is a great place to just kind of hang on to those. Okay, so get you a folder there that has code snippets. You don't have to know code. Don't worry about any of that. I will literally give it to you, but you will need to refer them, open, copy, paste, and go. The second is a make blueprint. And what that means is when we use make.com to automate, I'm going to give you the blueprint. So you don't have to start from scratch. And so that comes in a little file. And so this will be a great place for you to store that file. The third is a prompt library. And what I would encourage you to do just now is for the training that I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you a bunch of prompts. And even in our group, I have like thousands of prompts that you can just download and have. Find the ones that you like. You can stick them in here. I've actually created a little library for you right here where you can you can structure it however you want. But you know, put prompts. You might want to get fancy with this and add things like it works best in, and you could say it works best in you know, ChatGPT, or works best in Perplexity, blah blah blah, whatever. And you might say something like, you know, here's the prompt, and you might say things like which model you're going to use, whatever. You can organize it however you want. I don't really care, but I would encourage you to have some kind of a folder here with some prompts. When you find prompts that you like, you can add them here. Now, there are some tools that I'll share with you, like PromptBox and some others where it's actually an application where you can store all your prompts. But this is the easy way and the fast way we can do it right now. Okay, so back in here, you've got your prompt library, you've got your code snippets, you got your make blueprints. Also, our resources. Every once in a while, I'm going to be giving you files, and this will be a great place that you can store them, so you'll know they came from the Martech Mentor. And then the other thing is test data. Now, this one's very, very important, which is why I've given you the zip load. You can just unload all of this, and it's yours. You don't have to recreate any of this. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating some test automations. And what I found is that it's faster if you just have a folder to kind of store a bunch of assets. Later, you can go back and you can connect it to all these other things. But for the speed to get you going, I really encourage you to just to have this. So what I do is, this is a sample, so it's not filled out, but in the test data, I'm going to give you, for instance, some audio files, and you would come over here and you would store that there. Or maybe you're going to go over to 11labs.com or someplace like that. You're going to create an audio file to test, like your voice saying, hey, this is Paul, and I'm so glad to be here, whatever. And so this is a great place to just kind of stick it in there. And then when you're running through the automations, you don't have to think about where was that? And so like Prof. Hendricks, my professor, mentor, used to say, don't waste any creative energy looking for stuff. You're just blowing your creative energy, and you don't need to do that. So have this set up, put your test data in here. If you've got some Canva templates, and I'll show you how to create those that can automate social reels and stuff like that. If you got images, some Placid templates. I'll explain what Placid is later. Don't worry about it, but just go ahead and have this set up. And these are the places you can store. If you've got a video file, I'm going to show you how to take a faceless video background and automate every single day a new faceless post to TikTok and to Instagram. And this is a great place to kind of store some of those sample files. So go ahead and do that. So again, all you have to do, grab the zip file down below, unzip it, put it in Drive. You're good. That's it. All right. So step number one is done. The second thing I want to show you is we talked about a naming convention. All right. So back in here, you'll notice that there is a storage system, a naming system. Let's talk about naming for just a second. You can use this, you can ignore it. I don't really care, but I would say I've learned over the years a couple of little tricks, and that is that when you name things in your file structure, it's really important that you have a what we call a nomenclature system or a naming system, which is your way of naming things, and it's always the same. I know years ago my assistant, I hired her, and her first day I explained this and she was like, "What? You're weird." And she was right. I am weird, but this works. And instead of me having to hunt and peck, like, what did I call that or whatever, I have a naming system that I always use. For me, that means a couple of things. Number one, it means that I never, ever, 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 ever put spaces in a folder or a name. If something is in my drive that has a space, I immediately know that's not something I created because I never do that. This goes back to my early days as a PHP developer in the 90s, where I learned that if you add spaces, it adds some little squirrely characters and it messes things up. And so I just don't do that. I don't like it because it adds a percentage sign to 0 for every space in some applications. And so I don't like to do that. So I never have any spaces, and I always use underscore or a plus sign when I am creating things. Now you come up with your own, but I would just tell you that there is value in having a naming system. The other thing I do that you probably do, but if not, this is a great little hack, and that is if I want something to come to the top of the list, then I will give it a name like underscore, 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 and bring it to the top. This one happens to be at the bottom because it's showing folders first, and then this is a file. But my folders are structured this way. So if I wanted this one to be at the very top, I'm going to use it a lot. I'm going to constantly be finding it. I would rename it and then sort it, and it's always at the top. If I wanted this to be at the bottom and I never use it, or it's archived, or it's just something I don't need very often, I put ZZZ, which is sleep mode, and I bring it to the bottom. All right, so just simple things that'll help you in the naming of your files and folders. I promise you, if you'll do this and learn your system, you will be, the better for it. Now, another thing that I do for me personally, and I'm going to rename this because I don't need ZZZ on that one, but another thing I do is, for me, I'm a crazy entrepreneur, and I have a lot of brands and, own way too many websites and way too many URLs. And so I can't keep track. And so one of the things that I do is, because I have, all of these files and folders, and I want to know immediately, like instantly, which brand is this related to. So what I do to name files is I put a bracket, I put an abbreviation for the brand, a bracket, and then I either put a plus or whatever underscore, however I name it, and that tells me immediately this folder relates to my brand, Martech Mentor. Now I have other brands. I have a course on delegation called Start Delegating, so I would name this bracket SD bracket. I have another brand called Fractional CMO. I name that bracket FCMO bracket. I have another brand Swivel. I name that bracket BSW bracket, and so on and so forth down the road. And what this does is allows me to quickly see what I'm looking for. So back to where we were. I know this is kind of nerdy, but get you a storage system. Go ahead and set that up in Google. Create a naming system. Use mine, use yours. I don't care, but have a system so that you're not wasting any creative energy. The third thing I want to teach you is a password system. If you don't have this by now, you're already behind. And so I want to help you get forward on this. Most of you watching probably have some kind of a password manager. If you do not, today is your day to set that up, and you're not going to let another day go by. When I onboard customers that are in my Fractional CMO program, the first thing I do is I give them a list of tools, and this is one of the tools that I require them to use for us to do business together. It's called 1Password. I'm sure you're familiar with it. If you're not, LastPass is another one that you might use. I don't care which one you use, but do use a trusted one that's been around for a long time for security purposes. I've been using 1Pass for more than 10 years. I have over 2,200 logins in my 1Password account. And here's what that means. That means that every time I need to log into something, I never have to remember the password. Now, again, being your mentor, I want to teach you these little tiny little tricks that make a big difference. And one of them is you will learn that brain power is your greatest asset. And so don't waste it. If I have to go create an account and go, oh man, what's the password I should use for this? Should I make it 7 words, 7 letters? Did I already use that one? I just wasted a ton of brain power that I could use for more productive purposes. So I don't want to do that. Use Password Manager, whatever you use. I like 1Pass. The link is below. Go set up an account. And literally it looks like this. I'm going to show you, and I may have to blur some parts of my screen out to do this, but I'm going to go up here to 1Pass. You install it on your laptop or your computer. And now I have 2,200 logins right here. I don't remember a single password, and I don't care about remembering the password because I make my password really long and crazy looking because I don't want to get hacked. Knock on wood, to this day, I've never been hacked for anything that I can remember. And I think one of the values of this password tool is credit to that. So what does this do for me? Well, let's say I went over here to make.com and I'm going to log into Make. And the first thing it says is, hey, Paul, tell us who you are and how you got here and what's your account. All right, so in this case, I'm logged in. So let me go here and log out. That's hilarious. I think normally it always makes me log in. And the one time I wanted to show this, it didn't. Look at this. I don't have to remember my password. All I got to do is hit this little drop down, hit BSW Make, and that's my password, blah, blah, blah. And I just hit the button and I logged in. I don't remember anything. I didn't type anything. I literally just chose it from the list. If you're not using a tool like this, I would strongly encourage you. Today is the day that you need to set this up, get a password system in place. I'm going to be giving you a lot of tools and you're going to go set them up. Do not waste any energy trying to remember your password, and don't make any 2 passwords the same. If someone hacks one, they hack all. Make a different password for everything you have, and don't worry about keeping track of it because it's in 1Password. All right, so set that up. Now you've got a storage system set up, you got a file naming system set up, you have a password system set up, and if you've done all this before, then maybe these other ones will obviously become common to you. But a fourth is a bookmarking system. Now this may sound silly. We've all been bookmarking for 25 years in our browsers, but if you don't have a system for that, you're wasting energy. And I'm sure that you've got some things squared away. If you look at the top of my screen right here, though, I have all of these folders of bookmarks, and I've got, thousands more bookmarks. I've got folders within folders within folders within folders. Every tool that I've ever known over the years is bookmarked and it's categorized. If you don't have that, start today. Now, let me help you with this. All right. What I want you to do is do it right this second. Go to your browser right now. You're going to right click right up in here in this area. Now, if you don't see this, click on view and say always show bookmark bar. Now, I'm using Google Chrome. Your screen may look different if you're using Safari or another browser, but always show this. If I hide that, then I will not see that. But so in this case, I want to always show my bookmark bar. And what I'm going to do is just literally right click, and I'm going to add a new folder, and I'm going to call this Martech Gems, and I'm going to hit save. And so now there it is. All right. Now, what this allows me to do is every tool that Paul shares with you at the Martech Mentor, you can just drop down in there. So you go over to 1Password and you're like, ooh, I like that. I'm going to save it for later, drag it, drop it, move on with the rest of your day. Do not get sidetracked. And one of the biggest things that we struggle with as entrepreneurs and leaders is we have squirrel mentality, right? And so we go left, go right. This will help you. So when you're using a course or starting a course or you're in a group, and you come across something you want to explore further, boom, just drag it in there, all right? Don't get sidetracked today. That'll waste your time, waste your energy. And so now go set this up. For me, as an example, I have Martech Mentor as a separate folder for me, and I've got all these links in here. And one of the things I do is I have a folder called To Highlight. And so every time I come across a tool that I want to share with you in the Martech Mentor, I just drag it in there and I'll come back to it later. I'll do a demo on it. I'll do a video tutorial, but now I don't have to think about it. I love a tool called AppSumo, and I get distracted. I could buy a new tool in AppSumo every single day. And so what I do is when I come across something I like, I don't get distracted. I just drag the link into my AppSumo folder and I will come back to it later, okay? If I'm looking for a marketing tool, I've got a system for this where I say, I need a tool for KPI dashboards. Here's a couple. I'm looking to build a marketing plan. Here's what I need to do. I want to do some video marketing. Here's some tools I've already vetted. So if you don't have a good system for bookmarks and you're just throwing everything in your bookmark folder at large, you are wasting creative energy. And so you're going to stop that today and you're going to set up a bookmark system. And I promise you it will help you out. So go do that right now. The fourth thing I want to show you is a notation system. You can use a lot of different things like Evernote or whatever. I recently switched this year from Evernote that I've been using for years to Notion. I love Notion. It's just the new, I think, modern way to keep notes. And what I love about it is there are a bazillion and seven, not literally, I didn't count them, but there's like a billion templates that you can use. And the good thing about being in the MarTech Mentor is I'm going to give you a ton of templates that you can just use. And so what that does is it allows you to just kind of keep track of things. When you're here and you come across something that I'm like, man, that was a great idea that I need to learn from Paul. You can go create a note and you can notate it. Now, other people use, pen and paper. My good friend Brian Buford has an amazing system that he has a journal that he journals every single day and he creates tables of contents. Whatever works for you, but I would just tell you, you need a notation system. I prefer digital so I can move it across to all my different devices. But if you don't have Notion or another one, go get it today, right now. There's a link down below, notion.so, and make sure you sign up for that. So to recap, here's what we're doing for our day one challenge. We are going to get you organized because I'm about to give you a deluge of information and you're not going to be able to keep track of it unless you are organized. So let's start with the very, very basics. It's kind of like going back. Vince Lombardi is famous for telling his old football team, this is a football, which means let's go back to the very basics and let's just kind of focus on the things that are important. I promise you, by starting here, if you have a good system for your storage, a good system for naming your files, a good system for tracking your passwords, a good system for bookmarking things, and a good system for notating things, you will waste less brain power and energy that you can use for more creative and productive things. So let's go get to it. When you're done with doing all that, just comment down below that you've done and share any other insights that you have about how you stay organized. See you later.